Hi everyone, welcome to week 9. We are getting very close to finishing up and you're going to continue working on the STEM lesson investigation, place-based, problem-based science inquiry. So building on the topics that you've chosen, the ones that are relevant to the communities you serve and introduce some sort of problem, we're going to start planning the lesson around that. And so this week you are doing some pre-planning. So if you click on the assignment due June 5th, you'll see the instructions, and then here is the template you're going to use to start planning this. So some things you need to consider. This has to be adapted from a current lesson. I don't want you to start from scratch. So picking either one of the project learning tree lessons or one that has been linked in previous modules, or you can go to the internet and find an activity that is related to your problem that you identified in your previous weeks that is relevant to elementary students in your community. So what's the name of the lesson? Where did you get it from? And what safety considerations might you have to think about? You need to address something here. If there are no considerations for safety, then put that. But usually there is some. You need to actually, if the lesson plan doesn't already have a science standard, an engineering standard, or a math standard, you're going to need to find ones using those standards to link those. So the more the lessons you choose, like Project Learning Tree generally has a science standard. Sometimes they have the math standard. You might have to add the engineering standard, and you'll find those in the NGSS standards. I'm going to do a brief just introduction of how to search for those. And then the other thing is you have to write learning targets. You should have at least one learning target for each of the 3 standards that you're addressing. You need to talk about technology, and you need to talk about how will you build community partnerships during this lesson. So this is a community problem that's relevant to your students. So even if it's just a school-wide problem, let's say you decided you wanted to make your elementary a green school and start recycling. You might bring in some recycling experts from the local recycling center to talk to the students about how to sort recycling, what can be recycled, where does it go, things like that. So thinking about those partnerships, field trips, people you can come in, professionals who can come in and share their knowledge with your students. So just back to the learning targets too. Learning targets should be written as students will be able to do this, or I can do this in terms of from a student perspective, and they should directly align to these standards. So they should include something that is referenced in the standard in terms of what you're going to have the students do. Okay, so this is the framework. This is how you're going to start building this. You are able to plan this with another person, a partner, or in a group, but you do need to make sure that each person turns in a copy of this and that you include all names on your assignment, so I know that you are partnering with someone. I will not pick partners for you. So that's the assignment that's due this week. I'm going to show you the to-do list that explains that information. So here it is again. Thinking about, you want this to, any lesson that you actually pick, the more it aligns with STEM, the easier this is going to be to adapt. So you might want to take that attributes checklist that we used previously to evaluate the gingerbread man activity and see, is this a good lesson? Does it have a lot of these things already included? Okay. You'll submit your activity plan on June 5th. In addition to working on this, excuse me, you're going to do some reading and some just checking out phenomenon and demonstrations, because next week you're going to be doing a science demonstration that aligns with this lesson. So for week 10, start taking a look at these resources, and if you go back to our Canvas site, you will see that these are linked under week 9 under resources. So oops, I haven't made them visible, but they'll be right here. In fact, let me just get out of this view, and you'll see that those are there. So week 9, there's some science demonstrations. Let me publish those, and some elementary science demos. So you're going to take a look at those, and you're also going to read that document on NGSS and using phenomenon, because as you see next week, you get to videotape yourself doing a brief science demonstration for your lesson. So that is it for this week. Back to the to-do list just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I think you have everything. There we go. I can see down there. For the next week, I will go ahead and record videos and put up the to-do lists for week 10 and 11, so you will have all of the information you need for this final project, which is your lesson plan that you need to complete for the rest of the term. So good luck on this. Let me know if you have any questions.